Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to record the process called collect requirements, the second process in project scope management. How do we collect requirements? This is a very important process. It has got a lot of tools and techniques that are very important from the PMP examination perspective. You need to know the subtle differences between these tools and techniques, and then you'll be able to answer many PMP exam questions. For that reason, this video is going to be a little lengthy. I've detailed on a lot of things. I've made a lot of cards for you all to understand what are the different data gathering techniques, what are the different decision making techniques, and then what are the different interpersonal skills needed, and then what are the different data representation techniques, and what are the key words. Listen friends, when you're studying for PMP examination, when you read any book, look for the keywords. In this video, I'm going to give you the keywords that are used for these tools and techniques in collect requirements. Watch this video till the end. It's going to be like 15 to 20 minutes. A lengthy video, but very important. This one video will kind of reduce your study time by a couple of hours in understanding these things. Let's get started off. So, first thing is, what is collect requirements process? So this is the second process in project scope management, in which you will go and find what are the requirements that are needed for the project to become successful. For this, what do? You will talk to your stakeholders. Requirements that you'll define what are the requirements, you'll document them, then you'll verify them, and then ensure these are getting accepted. So you will come up with two outputs at the end of this process. One is the requirement documentation and one is the requirement traceability matrix. I will talk about these two in the end. Okay. Now, so what do we need to collect the requirements, right? Things like you need the charter, business case, which has like why is this project being done. Charter has details on the high level scope of this. Then your project scope statement. Then after that your plan, right? So these plans are very important, like your the previous plan, the scope management plan, which you just got that. Requirements management plan along with the project management plan, that's important. And then you'll have some documents like stakeholder register who will you be interacting with, and then after that your assumption logs. So these will be there, and few more like your OP and EF. These are some of the important inputs for this. Now with these things as input, okay, then the next question comes, you got to know what is needed. Now how will you collect requirements? How will you collect requirements? Nothing but in the process of the using the tools and techniques, right? Before I go into that, what are the different kind of requirements? Like there are a lot of different types of requirements, right? Requirements can be from the business. Okay, so I've got the list with me. What is the business need for this? Okay, like for example, we're making one community website for one of our clients. The business need was to make the website more engaging with the end users, right? Then what are the stakeholder needs? What does the PO want? What does the sponsor want? Or what does the end user need, right? Does the stakeholder need? Those are those requirements. You'll have to collect those kind of requirements. Then the next kind of requirements that you need to look into is solution based requirements, right? What is the solution offering? What are the functional requirements? What are the non-functional requirements, right? Functional requirements can be, okay, fine, I want this website to do these kind of calculations. Non-functional is like when people come on a website, the page load time to less than 3 seconds. It is to a number of people. So those are all very important. Performance testing. So all this stuff, what load a website can take. Those are like non-functional requirements. Then especially your own project requirements, the user stories which actually people work on, project requirements, those will be there. After that you will have quality requirements. For example, at the end when the project is delivered, you don't want to have anyone P1 critical issue to be come out in production. That's quality requirement. The defect density should be less than like 5% of the overall code that's been developed, right? So things like this. Okay, so these are some of the project requirement, quality requirement. Then very important, all these requirements once you collect it will form the basis of your work breakdown structure. Okay, which will help you kind of plan the project, schedule it, the cost of doing the work, the team, the quality, resource, all those things you can work on once you have the work breakdown structure with you, right? Now let's get started off the tools and techniques. The first one is the data gathering I have. Data gathering. So this is the superset, and we've got a lot of tools and techniques under this. So this category, data gathering category, has the first one is called as brainstorming. So as I told you, you talk to people. So what is the important thing in the brainstorming? What is the keyword in brainstorming? Okay, like for example, I've just made this paper like a flashcard. When you're studying, you write the question in front and answer at the back, right? So data brainstorming is done when you need to meet a diverse audience. You need creative ideas, right? And then after that, you need a lot of ideas, right? So it's like multiple ideas, creative ideas, diverse audience. That's very, very important. So that's what is called as brainstorming. You get everybody in a room, all the different kind of stakeholders, and then you start brainstorming what all are the different kind of requirements needed, collected. Then the next tool and technique is the interviews, right? So the interviews, when to use interviews? When you want to interact people one-on-one, when you're working with confidential data, right? So you'll do interviews when you want to do one-on-one interactions, get confidential, and if the requirements are very complex, you need a lot of discussions to understand that. That time you will use interviews as a tool and technique. Then next one is focus groups. Focus groups, how is this different from brainstorming? Understand this. Focus group is a group of subject matter experts, either only developers or testers or maybe business users. So you're getting these people to understand the requirements. Whereas in brainstorming is diverse. So here it is, subject matter experts, then multiple viewpoints from these people. So that's very important. Those are the keywords on this. Then questionnaires and surveys. So when do you use questionnaires? So questionnaires is, let's say for example, my business team or my the team which whom I have to collect the requirements are very far off, geographical distribution. So when you see question and surveys, it's geographical distribution. It's one way. It's like it's sending questions, you get the answers, right? But you can't do that for complex requirements. For complex, go for focus group virtual meeting, right? So questionnaires are used for like large audiences, geographical distribution. So see, these keywords are very important. The question can be framed in any form. So the keywords, if you remember the keywords, then you will be able to answer these questions easily. Then after that, benchmarking. Okay, benchmarking. So tools and techniques, how to collect requirements. So people are like, okay, fine, if we are going to collect NFR, non-functional requirements, benchmarking, okay, what is it the other customers doing? What is it the other teams are doing? Comparing with something, right? So comparable is a keyword, right? When comparison comes, so called benchmarking. Then checklists and check sheets, then market research, statistical sampling. So all these are different ways of collecting requirements. Checklist, as I tell you, is like step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How is it different from check sheet? Check sheet is data gathering. Like for example, if we do coding for 100 hours, the number of defects I expect is just say 10. Then next time I do coding 100, I get like 15 defects. So I'm gathering data. 10 in the first instance, 15 in the next instance. So that's called check sheet. Then market research, I'm trying to collect requirements. What is the market doing? What is the need of the market? Those requirements are taken in. And statistical sampling, you take a sample and see, okay, for this sample, what is the need or requirement? So these are the different requirements that is needed for the project, and these are the tools and techniques you'll use. Okay. So next one is your decision making. The next tool and technique is called as the decision making. So what are you doing? So this is a concept called as voting. Okay, so you will get everybody on the discussion room and ask them to vote. So this technique called unanimity, but then if you have got like 8 people in the room, all 8 have to agree, only then we're going to do this. So 100% agreement has to be there. Then next one is majority. Majority is like more than 50% people agree, you're going to do that. So in that voting technique, more than 50%. You will have to do the majority. Plurality. So you don't have majority, but the highest group, 40%. If they are agreeing, then you go ahead and do it. So that's plurality. Then there's another thing like autocratic decision making. The sponsor has told you have to do it, you have to do it. Only one person says, that's it. Or the client has told this must be done, it must be done, that's it. Nobody else can kind of take override that. That's autocratic. Then next one is decision making, multi-criteria decision analysis. In multi-criteria decision analysis, you've got 2 to 3 parameters. Based on those parameters A, B, C, you'll take a decision. Okay, so those are the decision making techniques. You use it for doing collecting the requirements, right? Fine, we're almost in the 9-minute mark. Let's go a little more further and understand few more important things. I want to kind of summarize everything in this one video. Okay, let's go ahead and see on the data representation. Okay, the next tool and technique is data representation. So data representation, for example, a technique called as affinity diagram. In an affinity diagram, you will start grouping the data. Let's say, for example, front-end requirements, back-end requirements, non-functional requirements, 3 groups. Or else on the website, let's say, homepage requirements, how does it look, feel, and all those things. Then after that, the shopping cart requirements. Then after the payment gateway requirements. So start grouping those requirements. That's where you start using, like, you use this sticky post-it note on the wall. Okay, so those are called as affinity diagrams. Affinity means something related together, right? The next one is mind mapping. Mind mapping is like you put a core central idea and then see what's related to it. You come out with branches and then sub branches. So multiple branches. I've created some mind mapping videos on my own channel. Have a look and how it has been done. You'll get an idea about mind mapping. So that's about the data representation tools and technique. Next one. So interpersonal skills, okay, and theme skills. So what all are these present now? Next one is, first one is called nominal group technique. Interpersonal tools and technique skills, it's called as nominal group technique. Nominal group technique is nothing but once you do say brainstorming of like umpteen number of ideas, diverse ideas. Now when you start grouping and ranking them, you'll have somebody who will moderate it, right? So once you start grouping those ideas, ranking those ideas 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that is called nominal grouping technique. When you rank your brainstorming ideas, it becomes nominal grouping technique. Then, so the keyword for this is rank ideas. Okay, so that's the keyword for nominal grouping technique. The next one is Delphi technique. Delphi technique is like you want to gather information. Sometimes people feel apprehensive talking to the seniors or in front of the customer or maybe the sponsor. So you want to gather, and you think this guy is actually having some real good information with him. He can help me out in this. Then you ask them to submit the data without writing their names. Collect requirements in a secretive manner with no names. Okay, so if you don't everybody know who else participating, just send one individual email to everybody and get the information. Okay, that's called Delphi technique. It's very important. So you might get some questions on that, or at least you'll see that on the PMP examination somewhere. Next one is observations, conversations. Okay, like when you see how the end user is utilizing the system or the product or the website or whatever is it, right? So observing that will give you an idea of what can be the requirement. So keyword is users. How the users are using the system. Where you do sometimes called as like job shadowing. Okay, you just work with them and see how they're using the systems. Next one is called as the facilitation. Facilitation tool and technique. So here what happens is you get a group of people and then you facilitate it. Okay, it's like two-way interaction happening. So first one is QFD. It's called quality functional deployment. This is more to understand the product in manufacturing side, wherein you get all the experts and then you kind of understand okay how the product is behaving. Collect those requirements. Next one is on the software side, it's called joint application development. You get all the software development programmers and you ask them to work, sit with the users, and then you have a workshop. Okay, that's and facilitate this workshop, and you cannot get the results. That's called as JAD, joint application development. User stories. User stories are like I as a user, how can I use for my role? I need this. How will it benefit me? So you start writing user stories like I as a so and so user need this XYZ so that I can get benefit like this. Those kind of requirements you can collect. So these are all the facilitation techniques you can use. Next thing is very important on the context diagrams. Very important. Context diagrams means whenever you see this, the question can come in the form like relationship between how a application and the user is being there. So the relationship between the system and the users, how are they interacting? The relationship between them, the context diagrams. If you see PMBOK, there's a very nice diagram on context diagram. Have a look into that. Okay, so it's like visual representation, users interacting with the system. Okay, so these are the keywords that's for the context diagrams. Then next one is your prototypes. Prototypes is like making a model and then giving out saying okay how this model can be useful. Okay, you get early feedback. You give a prototype, show it to your customer and get early feedback, and then you can find out new requirements, how this is end user is using this. So that will become a new requirement for you. Okay, we're almost coming to the end, come to 15 minutes mark. So next thing is some more way of getting the requirements, document analysis. So document analysis, like what are that? You'll analyze the agreements. Okay, how is the what is the agreement and what, analyze the business cases, analyze the issue logs, right? What are the different issues? Did we miss this requirement? This issue is there. Okay, do that also. Then see the RFP, what was given in the RFP, what can be the correct requirements. Then internal processes, like for example, what is the CAB process? They need at least the CAB to be, let's say change to something like 4 days before the deployment to be done. Then you have to take care of this requirement also. That's about the document analysis. Finally, coming to the end. So what is the output? You use so many tools and techniques. If you see this bunch in front of me, I've just shared with you all this, right? So if you see, so many things are there. So many tools and techniques are there, right? So what is the output of this process? What is the output of this process, right? The output of this process, as I told you, is the requirements document. Requirements document will help you track the requirement, trace the requirement, measure the requirement, and then after that, it will also ensure that the requirements kind of tested. Okay. So requirement document has got these things: track it, trace it, test it, again measure it. If requirement is not measurable, then the acceptance criteria is like very vague. It becomes very difficult for developers to make it. The next thing is requirement traceability matrix. Very, very important. Whenever you see requirement traceability matrix, remember these 3 O's: origin, objective, owner. What is the origin of the requirement? What is the objective of the requirement? Who is the owner of the requirement? It becomes very, very easier for you. Okay. Last but not the least, so many things are there. So many. What happens when you have like competing requirements? You have to choose between 2 requirements. You have to develop this new component or this new feature, and this next requirement is like the website has to be delivered on, say, end of the month. Taking this new feature, you cannot do it. Now, which are you going to weigh? For that case, what you do is you will refer to the business case, the charter, project scope statement, and then the project constraint. You refer all this and then you take a decision. If the project constraint says we must go live on this date, end of the month, then nothing else can be added now. Okay, fine. That's about the collect requirement process. Thank you for watching my video. This is arham.faraaz. If you like my video, please do subscribe to my channel. Drop me a note. I'm preparing other processes also. Give me some time. I should be ready in a few more days. Do subscribe to my channel. Watch this video a couple of times. All these keywords, tools and techniques are for the PMP examination perspective, directly hitting the nail on its head. Watch this video a couple of times. I wish you all the best. This is arham.faraaz. Have a nice day. Bye bye.